Tell me.
Drifting through loss, we escape from the cost of the pain.
So many dead, we owe them.
The healing through years so obscured by the tears and the strain.
I've heard rumors that the Immaculates can free a man.
There's one-way street you're on, it's gonna get you killed.
We failed him.
May you find peace in this life or the next.
躯壳2把故 Symmetry 从前作中所学到的一切经验几乎全部进行了升级和扩展。这一次不只拥有更长的剧情战役、全新的战斗工具，还有数量多到非常夸张的全新地下城。从目前来看，这款续作跟第一代有非常大的区别。从某种程度上，我可以讲它看起来甚至已经快要认不出是同一个系列了。不过重点是，在游戏最近进行了开放测试之后，我还是发现到有一些值得注意的问题和担忧，所以接下来我也会跟你们聊聊有关一些问题，以及其他一些你们需要知道的内容。如果你们谁还在考虑要不要购买《致命躯壳2》的话，那么你们一定要先看完以下我所整理出来的13个重点。话不多说，我们直接开始吧。第一，你不需要玩过第一代。虽然《致命躯壳2》看起来依然延续了前作那种黑暗奇幻风格，这样看上去就好像是从第一代的世界观里直接延伸出来的作品，但开发团队 Core Symmetry 这一次实际上打造的却是一款完全独立的续作，也就是说，你不需要玩过第一代，也可以直接享受这款全新的第二代。游戏里面依然保留了不少和第一代相似的机制以及玩法，再加上那些熟悉的视觉风格，所以我相信这些内容肯定会让那些有玩过前作的老玩家感到非常熟悉的亲切感。当然，这一代也加入了大量的新东西。第二，预计会拥有更长的剧情战力。说到这里，我认为这次的《致命躯壳2》跟前作的最大差别就在于游戏流程长度。考虑到这一次续作的规模和野心都很明显比第一代还要大很多，所以按照目前的情况来看，我预计游戏的主线战力可能需要大约30个小时才能完成。当然，这个时间长度只是我个人预测而已。如果最终情况真的是像我刚讲的这样，那么《致命躯壳2》的主线长度就会达到第一代的2倍。因为第一代的《致命躯壳》游戏流程大约只有15个小时，所以如果续作真的能够达到30个小时左右的话，那对于那些想要一款内容更加丰富的类魂游戏玩家来说，这一款续作不亏会是一个相当明显的大升级。第三，没有难度设置。按照传统的类魂游戏设计， 致命躯壳2的菜单设置里面并不会提供让玩家调整游戏难度的选项。当然，这一点其实也不算特别意外，毕竟 From Software 一直以来都很抗拒在自己的游戏里加入传统意义上的难度滑块。不过，他们会通过各种角色制定以及配装系统来让玩家可以跟着自己的玩法来调整挑战难度。而故事里面这次看起来也准备采用类似同样的思路，致命躯壳2会提供一个固定的游戏挑战难度，所以玩家是不能直接选择简单、普通又或者困难选项的。但是你是可以通过游戏里面大量的 build 工具去按照自己的玩法来改变实际面对敌人时的体验。换句话说，游戏不会直接让你选择难度，而是让你通过自己的角色 build、装备以及各种能力搭配来决定自己到底要怎样玩。至于这些具体的 build 工具到底是什么，你们可以等玩了之后才会知道我在说什么的。第4，全新躯壳 Proxima the Bloodseeker。到目前为止，续作可能会加入新的躯壳在里面，只有一个是已经正式确认的，它就是 Proxima the Bloodseeker， 而且它和游戏里的其他躯壳都不太一样。Proxima 穿着的是一套完全装甲化的装备，这个设计也非常明显的体现出了致命躯壳2这一次更加重视的战斗理念，那就是进攻优先。它拥有一种特殊的钩爪，可以直接把敌人勾到自己的前面，然后再使出一连串的近距离攻击。也就是说，它并不是那种站在远处慢慢消耗敌人的角色，而是更加鼓励玩家主动的去接近敌人，然后持续发动近战攻击。另外，如果 Proxima 在战斗中受伤了，那它还会进入一种强化状态。虽然这个状态能够进一步强化它的力量，但同时这样也会带来一个非常明显的风险，那就是它可能会直接死亡。所以 Proxima 本质上就是一种非常典型的高风险高回报。不过，如果你能够很好的控制它的状态，那么它还可以打出非常夸张的高伤害等。其中一个最值得我们注意的是，它还拥有一种非常强大的元素雷电攻击。当你已经被敌人逼到绝境，背后几乎没有退路的时候，这时这个能力看起来可能会帮到你。第5， 4种全新的武器类型。致命躯壳2新增的武器类型会很明显的扩展玩家在战斗中的选择，同时也会配合这款续作而更加偏向主动进攻型的战斗风格。比如斧头与匕首就是一种速度非常快、动作非常流畅，而且能够持续发动攻击的双持武器组合。如果你是喜欢那种不停的黏着敌人攻击，然后不愿意给对方有一丝喘气机会的玩法，那么这种武器可能会非常适合你。另外还有 Black Needle，它是一种尖锐的长矛型武器，主要强调的是远距离攻击以及精准打击。接下来还有一把造型非常特别的武器，那就是发条镰刀。它的描述同样也非常有意思，那就是一个疯子或者一个天才所打造的疯狂工具。凭着这段描述就已经足够让人感到好奇，这把武器到底有多厉害啊！最后还有战斧，这是一把非常重量感的双手武器，本质上就是一把专门用来斩断骨头的巨大切割武器。所以从这些新武器来看，致命躯壳2这一次很明显是在给玩家更多不同的战斗方式选择，而且如果你开始尝试把不同的躯壳和不同的副武器进行搭配的话，那么致命躯壳2这一次扩充之后的武器库看起来应该能够产生各种各样的 build 配合和协同效果。换句话说，你不只是单纯多了几把武器可以用而已，而是有机会把不同的躯壳、武器和能力组合在一起，去创造出各种完全不同的战斗玩法。第6，全新的副武器进一步扩展战术选择。致命躯壳2其中一个非常突出的特色就是加入了全新的副武器，这些新增的副武器进一步扩大了玩家的武器库，同时也让战斗拥有更多不同的战术选择。目前一共有7种全新的副武器将会加入游戏，而且这7种武器都有各自非常明显的特点，这也意味着它们可以分别和
致命躯壳2意外的还不错这次你扮演的是薰衣草，那目的很简单，帮妈妈找回散落在世界各地的蛋。虽然是类魂游戏，但是它并没有设定耐力值，取而代之的是血条上方这个黄色的叫做决心值，那你通过普通攻击可以获得。所以这个游戏它是鼓励你积极的进攻哦。游戏最大的特色就是可以附身到死去的战士身上。官方说正式版总共会有8种躯壳每一个躯壳对应的都是不同的招式。那目前的试玩版有开放2种，第一种躯壳可以使用群体石化，它就是踩地板之后，周围的敌人都会被石化，这个时候你的攻击就会变成累积击破伤害。那它就是跟我们以前熟悉的所谓的架势条一样，累积满之后就可以处决敌人。 第二种躯壳的能力是潜行，那你潜行之后可以暗杀敌人。除了石化之外，有没有其他方式可以累积击破值呢？这边就要提到这个游戏有一个叫圣印的系统。目前测试版提供了4种方式可以提升击破值哦。第一种就是普通的格挡系统，你可以格挡敌人的攻击，跟抓对时机的话变成完美招架，可以提升敌人的击破值。第二种就是全身石化的招架。第三种，我们熟悉的小圆盾弹反。还有第4种，你干脆不招架了，你用副武器可以打出击破伤害。如果你使用的是一开始这把不能简称的枪的话，你会看到击破伤害，好像还好。但是如果你用鲁特琴的话，哇，它这个击破伤害是超大幅增加，2发可以直接处决，处决完之后还掉一堆决心，清小怪感觉超级好用。那么除了武器跟躯壳之外，这个游戏还有路石系统，你可以自由选择你要装备哪种路石，有些是增加什么暴击几率啊、暴击伤害，也有一些会解锁新的招式，或者是对武器或副武器附魔。那更有趣的是，它不同的路石之间还有存在隐藏的搭配哦。8种的躯壳，再加上主武器、副武器，还有路石的玩法，你整个组合起来可能有上百种的流派可以让你玩哦。升级的部分，角色本身是直接强化，没有分属性让你选择。那躯壳有各自的升级路线，而且它的点数可以随时重置。你想换流派也不用再重新练，也不用花其他的资源。那致命躯壳2它在8月20号正式上市，如果你预购前程版的话，可以提前72个小时游玩，而且还
Hey, and we're back with another episode of Before You Buy. That show where we give you some straight-up gameplay and our first impressions of the latest games releasing. As usual, it's me, Jake, and today we're talking about Mortal Shell 2. This is the follow-up to the underrated, kind of experimental Souls-like game from 2020. It was developed by a studio called Cold Symmetry. So, to answer your question right off the bat with this one, no, you don't have to have played the original. This feels standalone, and you can just jump in fresh to Mortal Shell 2 as a whole new adventure. And I think it's a worthwhile one for action RPG fans. It's got good exploration, a really cool, unique sense of style, and a lot of good spins on progression and augmenting your character. The edges can dull in a spot, which I will get to, but I think Mortal Shell 2 is mostly a really good time, and I'm going to recommend it to some of you. Maybe not run out to the store right this very second, but absolutely keep it on your radar. Big props to the developers and the publishers publisher behind this PlayStack. A few weeks ago, they put out a pretty generous demo for the game, and I'd say if you played that and you like that, then this is probably a no-brainer for you. But anyway, before we get started, just so you know, this footage, I've been playing a review copy. All the footage is captured running on PC, and it is spoiler-free. I'm going to show you beyond the demo a little bit here and there, but ultimately I'm not going to really spoil anything, because these types of games, the surprise, the fun is kind of like what you're going to stumble upon. But anyway, Mortal Shell 2 thrusts you into this weird fantasy world filled with like the gothic, the medieval, but also the otherworldly. You play as the mysterious Harbinger, a kind of undead husk skeleton man tasked with recovering all of these weird, seemingly alien eggs for this being. You wake up, you're given your goal, and then you just kind of get to it. And the game gives you a hub area, kind of like a Firelink shrine or a Nexus, where you gear up, and then you either take an elevator or fast travel to what is an open world map, pretty ripe for exploration. Now, I mentioned Firelink Shrine and Souls-like before because that's the subgenre clearly inspiring it here. You grind for souls. If you die and you don't grab them, you lose them. You rest and level up at bonfires to respawn enemies, and also you're going to get crushed by some bosses. But how Mortal Shell kind of does its own thing instead of like strictly sticking to From Software's formula is what makes it really interesting. It can be fast and frenetic. It can be over the top, almost like a heavy metal album at times, and structurally, I just think it's really cool. So anyway, like I said, you are this husk of a dude, but you can venture out and explore and find shells. That's the main hook. These shells are essentially the dead that you inhabit, like warriors, kings, rogues, otherworldly kind of huntresses, brutes, and on the surface, they're skins. You know, you look badass, but they each bring their own bonuses and special abilities, with some transforming how you play quite a bit, actually. Like the sneaky rogue guy is just as capable as the rest in combat. He can wield the same weapons, but his special ability allows him to go invisible and get a special backstab attack in. One character has a grappling hook. Another one has this kind of like self-generating Estus flask. Another guy has like a really good risk-reward where you can sacrifice half your health for powerful hits. Each shell brings a really cool look and some good active and passive shakeups that I think makes hunting for them and trying to unlock them all really satisfying and pretty worthwhile. Some of them seem like they're pretty out in front, like you can't miss them, but it seems like others you really gotta hunt for, and I've really found myself seeking them out because they're each exciting. They feel different enough, and even if to me personally there's a few I ended up not really liking, I didn't use that much, they all come with their own little sub-stories about their life. It's mostly grimdark shit, but, you know, it's interesting enough, and it serves as a reward for the more you level up a shell. Now, as an inhabitant of the shell, if your health goes to 0, you get blasted out of it, and then you're stuck fighting back as your skinny, naked self. You're more vulnerable. You can win enough to summon your shell back and keep going, or, you know, if you ultimately die, you wake up at the nearest shrine, and you hope you can go back and grab your souls. Mechanically, the other interesting bit
Since the release of Dark Souls, countless Souls-likes have emerged over the years, yet only a handful have truly managed to stand out. And the original Mortal Shell is definitely not one of them. It was a decent game, but it came across more like a proof of concept than a fully realized experience. Now 6 years later, Cold Cemetery returns with Mortal Shell 2. And I have to say, this game represents one of the most massive leaps I have seen from a sequel in a long time. It takes the strongest elements of the original, most notably its shell system, and expands them into something far more ambitious and refined, with a larger and more interesting world to explore, significantly better combat and animation work, and far greater build variety and customization. Overall, unlike the original Mortal Shell, I think this sequel has earned its place among the best Souls-likes. On the technical side, Mortal Shell 2 is built on Unreal Engine 5 and makes use of many of its major features, including Lumen, Nanite, and virtual shadow maps. Visually, despite occasionally suffering from that generic Unreal look and some of the engine's typical issues, Mortal Shell 2 benefits from a beautiful and distinct art direction that helps it stand out. Both the enemies and the environment share a dark, decayed, and corrupted aesthetic that gives the game a unique visual identity and fits its atmosphere perfectly. On the performance side, the game is pretty decent given that it's using many of UE5's major features. But when it comes to performance stability, things get a bit mixed. At first launch, the game goes through the usual shader compilation step. While this process does a decent job covering most shaders in the early areas, it does not fully eliminate all stuttering. There are still some occasional shader compilation hitches here and there, but to be fair, nothing game-breaking. As for traversal stuttering, the game does pretty well in this regard, especially considering its open zone level design. Some frame time spikes can still occur, but it's far from being a stutter fest. It's worth noting, however, that this test was conducted with reflex disabled, and I had to use an engine INI tweak to disable it, as there is currently no in-game option to do so, and reflex is forced on even when frame generation is disabled. And as you can see here, disabling reflex cleans up the frame time graph and reduces micro stuttering. But of course, this comes at the cost of increased input lag, so I would only recommend doing this if you can achieve high frame rates without frame generation. When it comes to upscaling, the game supports FSR3, DLSS, and TSR. Unfortunately, TSR in particular is pretty subpar in this game, and exhibits a lot of shimmering and breakup similar to FSR3. There is an anti-aliasing setting, but despite its performance cost, it does not significantly improve TSR's image quality. And even when using native, there is no meaningful difference between the anti-aliasing options. So if you are using TSR, I recommend avoiding ultra anti-aliasing. And if you have enough performance to spare and can't use DLSS or FSR4, I recommend ditching the in-game TSR at FSR3 and using FSR 4.1-inch through OptiScaler instead. Notice any performance or visual difference. So let's move on to reflections. Using low or medium keeps only screen space reflections enabled, while moving up to high and ultra adds lumen reflections with no noticeable visual difference between these two options. Even in areas where lumen reflections exhibit some noise, high looks pretty much identical to ultra. Performance-wise, there is around a 6% cost from low to high and about 7% when going to ultra, so for this one I recommend high. Next, we have post-processing. Going from low to medium slightly increases bloom intensity. Moving to high adds a vignette effect, while ultra enables chromatic aberration, film grain, lens flare, and screen space light shafts. Now, the game does include individual toggles for these effects, but from what I have seen, the toggles for lens flare, chromatic aberration, and film grain don't work at all, and these effects remain enabled even when their respective settings are switched off. So for now, if you want more control over these effects, I recommend using the engine INI file, which I'll leave in the description and pinned comment below. As for the performance cost of post-processing, there is only a noticeable impact when using Ultra, which comes with around an 8% cost. Moving on to environment, this one controls the density of scattered objects, such as small rocks, grass, and other environmental elements. At Ultra, this setting also enables non-night tessellation, which adds more displacement and geometric detail to some surfaces. But this has a significant performance impact. In this scene, going from low to high
If you're looking for the best settings for Mortal Shell 2, I've got just the video for you. First, you want to go to your settings and hit the game tab. And under game settings, we're going to go all the way down to auto pickup gold. We're going to turn that on. This will pick up the gold automatically. Then we're going to go down to camera style and we're going to switch that from immersive to
These are all the settings in Mortal Shell 2 you need to change right now. So in the game menu, and under game settings, we want to go to auto pickup gold. Crank that thing over to yes. Going down to the camera style, by default, you are in immersive mode, which does give you a cool over the shoulder look, but it also limits your FOV. So instead you want to change that to action. This is going to pull the camera way out, so you can see enemies trying to hit you from the back. Next, for both of these camera shake strengths, we want to make sure this is all the way set down to 0. This is going to help to smooth out your gameplay. Under user interface, I like to turn enable low HP vignette to no. I don't need any extra effects on screen distracting me. If we move on down once again, all the way to controller calibration, we are going to turn off this enable adaptive triggers. All that's going to do is fatigue your fingers. We don't need that. Now moving on over to display. This of course is going to be optional, but this could save you a few frames, as well as just make your game look cleaner overall. For this, under camera effects, we're going to turn all of this off. So from bloom all the way to vignette, you can turn all of that to the off position. This is going to remove all of those extra filters the game has, which as you've seen, it looks fine without them. And that's it. We do deep guides for new gaming releases, so if you don't want to miss out on more, make sure to hit that follow. These are all the settings in Mortal Shell 2 you need to change right now. So in the game menu, and under game settings, we want to go to auto pickup gold. Crank that thing over to yes. Going down to the camera style, by default, you are in immersive mode, which does give you a cool over the shoulder look, but it also limits your FOV. So instead you want to change that to action. This is going to pull the camera way out, so you can see enemies trying to hit you from the back. Next, for both of these camera shake strengths, we want to make sure this is all the way set down to 0. This is going to help to smooth out your gameplay. Under user interface, I like to turn enable low HP vignette to no. I don't need any extra effects on screen distracting me. If we move on down once again, all the way to controller calibration, we are going to turn off this enable adaptive triggers. All that's going to do is fatigue your fingers. We don't need that. Now moving on over to display. This of course is going to be optional, but this could save you a few frames, as well as just make your game look cleaner overall. For this, under camera effects, we're going to turn all of this off. So from bloom all the way to vignette, you can turn all of that to the off position. This is going to remove all of those extra filters the game has, which as you've seen, it looks fine without them. And that's it. We do deep guides for new gaming releases, so if you don't want to miss out on more, make sure to hit that follow. These are all the settings in Mortal Shell 2 you need to change right now. So in the game menu, and under game settings, we want to go to auto pickup gold. Crank that thing over to yes. Going down to the camera style, by default, you are in immersive mode, which does give you a cool over the shoulder look, but it also limits your FOV.
各位不死人传火的新王们，都先停一停。今年我最期待受苦的魂类黑马致命躯壳2，明天就能提前开稿了。但是先把那准备献祭给巨胖的手从购买按钮上拿开，别误会，2个月前那4小时的测试版测试，我打完的感觉就俩字，对味儿了。那会儿我恨不得反手就给个8.5分，但现在我得说，这评价我先捏着，毕竟防火女只带玩家进新手村，和她能不能陪玩家干翻最终 BOSS 那是两码事。试玩版经验4小时。跟正式版能不能让玩家心甘情愿受苦30个钟头，压根就是2个世界。这就是魂游第一定律。开局给玩家一套花里胡哨的新系统，一张美得人当壁纸的地图，再来几个让玩家大喊卧槽的 BOSS， 很容易就把小萌新骗上贼船了。真正的考验是在死了几十次，把 BOSS 的抬手动作都快刻进 DNA 里，把系统摸得比自家键盘还熟之后，这游戏还能不能从裤裆里掏出点新东西来给玩家惊喜？还是说黔驴技穷，开始给玩家疯狂堆怪了？ 这决定了他最后是能被捧上神坛，还是沦为一句就这的笑柄。所以今天咱们就把话聊透，这游戏到底值不值得首发，以及多花30块当个虔诚版玩家，提前3天进去当活尸，到底是不是冤大头？听好了，版本差异贼简单，普通版198 8月20号跟着大部队一起传火，虔诚版228，明天玩家就能进去被各路神仙教做人。顺便送玩家几套帅得掉渣的黑曜石皮肤，相当于别人还在捏人，你已经穿上哈维尔套装出门了。如果玩家对皮肤无感，那这30块买的就是3天信息差。所以问题就变成了，这游戏配不配让玩家提前3天进去，成为那个在篝火旁指点江山、剧透萌新的董哥。以我之前测试版的体验来看，我的答案是配。如果玩家早就下定决心要跳这个坑，那这30块就是玩家点燃第一个篝火时捏碎了人性。再聊聊战斗，还记得那个绿油油的玩家刚砍2刀想翻滚时就瞬间变红的玩意儿吗？对，精力条2代直接把它给扬了。这一下整个游戏的节奏直接起飞，跟1代已经不是同一个物种了。这意味着玩家终于可以把焊死在左下角的眼睛挪回到玩家真正的敌人身上了。这感觉就像是只狼是不再当一个回合制管理的怂包，而是主动迎着刀光上去叮叮当当把压力给到对面。什么时候弹，什么时候掏枪崩他脸，是继续压到他喘不过气，还是跳开喝口药，这才是玩家想要的战斗。还有这代的枪不是让玩家在800里外当逃课仔刮痧用的，它是玩家战斗流派的一部分，可以是打断和破防，也可以是创造处决的钥匙。枪与剑亲密无间，当然这玩意儿强化到后期会不会变成轮椅，这是我目前最大的担忧，咱们后面细说。但真正让我喊出这系列活明白了的是战斗插槽，这玩意才是致命躯壳2的灵魂，它彻底改变了构筑的底层逻辑。以前玩家换个 BD 无非是我今天用大剑还是用鸡腿，现在呢是我今天当弹反痴汉还是当血流莽夫，还是玩硬化狗命流玩家的玩法，不再被一把武器锁死，而是由玩家自己来定义，这才叫真正的角色扮演。具体的机制，我之前那期4小时试完，视频里已经拆得稀碎了，这里就不当复读机了。最后说一下地图，这可能是我对正式版最大的恐惧和期待。测试版里，我曾站在山巅，看见远方一座又一座的破败城堡和山谷，心想那下面绝对有东西。然后我就开始像个傻子一样，一点点往悬崖边挪，然后我摔死了。但我当时心里乐开了花，因为它成功的勾起了我那该死的探索欲。
Go on ahead. I need a few more flowers before I can join the others.
I think I feel her presence. The mother. She's near. If I...
Lavender, we may do something to remember us by. I'm sure I'll see you again, after the reunion. I like to imagine us all in a great field of flowers. The sun is always shining, and the past is long forgotten.
Please, don't hurt Navi. Fetch the bucket.
Ready to die. Please, let me go.
Don't be silly.
Come closer. It's time to claim what's yours. This knight, Haros. He was once like any mortal, driven by the illusion of self. Now he's pure, a vessel to be filled with purpose. Your purpose. You're more than a weapon, child. Find what remains of me.
Do not mourn. Your true disciples are waiting.
gonna like this.
your strength, child. Your shell serves you as a brother. 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 Your shell serves you as a brother.